All right, no bad words.
Hey, Chef.
That's
Hey,
right.
Jeff.
Stop all the bad words. You're now being recorded.
I do have a question.
No bad words.
No bad. I do have
all
a
right.
question.
You did respond to my comments already, so I just wanted to clarify, no bad words. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Don't worry, I ain't gonna cuss you. I noticed when I pulled up my fall schedule, I was supposed to have baking on Monday, baking one on Monday, and now it's gone. It's off my schedule. So I was wondering what happened with that. And then Brian and Lynn said that their baking doesn't even have an instructor on it.
Okay. I can comment about baking that doesn't have an instructor on it, but unfortunately, April, I don't have an answer right now about if you did have a class and now you don't have a class. No.
Well, I did email Chef Rogers, since she is my advisor, asking her if she knew what happened. So
Okay. Hey, hang on. Stay whenever we get done. Just hang on, and I'll look and see what the current class schedule looks like.
okay.
The only course that I'm aware of that we are probably going to eliminate this fall, and it's not eliminating a whole class. We currently have, and it doesn't affect any one of you. So hooray about that. 3 sections of Food 2 in the fall, and we still have Chef McAfee teaching 1 in-person section on Monday mornings. I have an almost full section online, but my Wednesday evening Food 2 only has, I think, 3 enrolled in it.
Wow.
All of the Food 1 people, I mean, are already enrolled, and we pretty much need to have at the bare minimum 7 or 8 to make a class. And so I've been part of a decision to cancel that Wednesday evening Food 2, but before a class can be canceled, our SOP, our standard operating procedure, is to notify each student in person. And that is usually, now it would be Renee or Jan. Renee is the associate dean. Jan is our new director. And so they contact those people and say something to the effect, like for this Food 2 class, you have the option of Food 2 Monday morning, online, or wait and take it in the spring. Which do you want to do?
Wow.
So that usually gets, it happens almost every semester, but I've never heard of, well, we're just going to erase a class. So April, I want to check
Okay.
and see if that class still exists, first of all. And if it does, then we want to look and see about your schedule and what's going on. And we can do all that. I think we can do all that here in just a little while.
Okay. Thank
I have a
you.
question.
Now for Brian and Lynn, about having a class that did have an instructor assigned and now probably doesn't have an instructor assigned. That's happening all over the culinary school.
Okay.
Here's why. With the promotion of Jan to director, that takes her out of the classroom. She won't be teaching 5 or 6 classes a semester. She has to teach 3 classes a year.
Mm.
So maybe 1 in the fall and 1 in the spring and 1 in the summer, or all 3 in the summer, or she decides that for herself. Currently, on the baking side, Lynn, Brian, is it a baking class that?
It's baking
Second
one.
one.
Yeah, see, so right now today, there is Chef Leah, Chocolate,
Uh-huh.
Chef Kincaid, Kathy, and nobody else.
Okay.
Okay.
Nobody else hired, no one else assigned. I would, this is just a guess, so don't hold me to this. But for baking one, your instructor, unless something else changes, your instructor will probably be Chef Leah or Rob Best, Chef Best.
Okay.
What about stock soups and sauces? I have no instructor on that one still.
I don't think anybody's been hired.
No, the hope is that we can hire 2 new culinary instructors and 1 baking and pastry instructor. And as of today, that hasn't even been posted, hasn't even been advertised yet. And there are a couple of people in the wings that, you know, we would kind of like to hire that may have to start the semester as adjuncts on very temporary basis. But, you know, I don't know 100% for certain what tomorrow is going to look like. And so I do know that stock soups and sauces class, both stock soups and sauces classes are full. They're at capacity, they're at limit. So they're not going to change the schedule. They're not going to take a class away. We just don't know who's going to teach that yet. And we may not know until our professional development week, which is the week just before classes start. Faculty goes back Monday the 16th. And sometime in the middle of that week, you know, it's a bum deal on especially the new instructors, but there may not be someone assigned to that class until Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday of that week, just days before class starts. But of the people that are interested in applying for the openings that aren't officially open yet, if that makes sense, don't be concerned about the quality of the education that you can still expect. You're going to get somebody, and worst case scenario, you know, it might be me. I'm a capitalist pig, and if they let me teach 20 classes instead of my 5, and I get an overload contract for each one, I'll live at the culinary school for a semester, and that's perfectly fine with me. That won't happen, but there you go. With Chef Jolie, with Chef Mosley leaving, with me moving into her slot, technically they have to replace me, and they have to replace Chef McAfee, Jay McAfee. Jay's not coming back. So
He's not even going to do an online class?
I am taking the online meat and seafood class.
Okay.
Yay!
All right.
Are
April
you in
signed
the-
up for it.
Who's in the online meat and seafood?
Me.
And
April,
Ariel are both
Ariel,
Ariel and
everybody-
myself are in there.
Everybody's in it? Great. We're going to learn together. I know what I'm doing. A little bit. But if y'all heard me before, especially meat and seafood, the great thing about meat and seafood online is you're going to get a truckload of whole chickens to break down at home. So make sure you have freezer space. When the week that we break down tenderloins, the beef tenderloins, you got a whole tenderloin to take home. And so you're going to have some of ours that we get at the school are kind of small, but you know, you're going to have 8, maybe 10 fillets to put in your freezer at home in your you don't have to give them back.
I told April to sign up for summer because we did ours at school, and I was like, no, April, you need to sign up for online. So
Online.
you get all this food for free. Well, you pay for it technically, but still, it's like you get a lot. And I'm like, I wish we would have signed up for online now. Can we go back and take it again?
Well, you know, technically you can. You get a little flag that advisor says override that flag, and that flag is you've already taken this class. Are you sure you want to take it again?
I just want to make sure my A is really an A.
You know, whatever your argument is, that's that's your. Okay, let's dive into this
All right.
really quick. In fact, truthfully, I only have a little bit. Aren't you sad? This is our very last. This is our last one of the semester. Okay, hold on. Let me share my screen.
So, Chef, I have a quick question about the online meat and seafood.
Okay.
Will we actually cook the meat as well, or are we just breaking it down?
You're breaking it down. Meat and
Oh.
food is primarily about fabrication.
Okay.
So just like the tail end of food one, and like the first assignment in this class, fabricating a chicken.
Mhm.
So that is what you're going to be doing all the time in different things. You know, round fish, flat fish, chicken 100 different ways. Now you're not gonna break down a whole pig. You're not gonna break down half a cow. You know, things like that. But meat and seafood is primarily, from a practical,
Lemonade.
is primarily about fabrication.
Okay.
But you'll have it to use. You'll have it to however you want to use it. I'm probably going to add assignments that you know, Brian and Lynn didn't have to do, but especially for online, just to kind of keep this plate presentation and creative cooking, kind of to keep that going, that we really tried to dive into in this class this semester. I'm probably going to keep something like that in the online meat and seafood as well. So, you know, you're going to break down this food. I'm not necessarily going to tell you a cooking method because you will have already had food too. And so do something with this product that you just broke down. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes, sir. And will the breakdown, like, will it be like us watching, doing like we do now, watching a video and then reproducing that? Or like, will we break it down on video with you? Like you'll break it down and we have our screens up and doing it together, in so many words.
Just like this class.
Okay.
And for starter, probably for you guys that have signed up for this fall, for the most part, I'll be using the videos that Chef McAfee curated. I've seen several of them, and it's not bad stuff, but the time that it will take for me to shoot all new video for the whole semester, it will take the entire semester. And so in that regard, Juanita, I would say kind of unfortunately for those of you in the fall, and it's not unfortunate because they're good videos, just like this class. You know, it's stuff that I pulled off of YouTube, except for last week. It wasn't deep fry week. What
Mhm.
me,
Yeah.
my kitchen here at home. How you like that, you know, 1970s look on the cabinets, and this house is almost 100 years old. That's an updated kitchen. And I'm not there in my remodeling yet.
Yeah.
But it will be watch the video and then you do the work. And then you will turn in, I'll be changing up the assignments that Chef McAfee built in the online Food 2 class, but it'll have a similar feel to what you've already become accustomed to in this class. You'll mostly shoot some video of maybe certain steps of process, depending on what we're fabricating, or your finished product.
All right.
Y'all see this kind of dark screen Food 2 in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, and then it was dark and then you step into the light.
And then we got blinded.
Yup.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up. This is the last class. I'm really gonna try it. You guys, what do you think? What do you like? What do you appreciate? And think like you're the sous chef. How would you make this plate different, or would you keep it the same?
So
I like it.
I think there's a lot there.
Yeah.
There's,
And it's not necessarily a lot of food like cafeteria food, but I don't know, it's a lot more than fine dining, I guess is what I'm thinking. I don't know if that really huge piece is a big hush puppy.
This
Yeah, that,
puppy.
I think I would have left that off because it's,
That's a big hush puppy.
it is.
These are the shrimp,
Oh, okay.
shrimp.
Now I can see it.
French fries,
I like the fries.
fish, onion rings.
Okay. And they kind of look like chicken nuggets.
I think it'd be like.
So what would you do different?
I think I would have cut the fish different.
How?
Like maybe diagonally.
Cut it diagonally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
What do you call that? What
A
do
bias.
bias? Good.
unbiased.
Good.
I think it looks good. I think it'd be a great appetizer for.
I mean, yes, you can't, fried food, you can't really put on a fine dining. And I think that's kind of hard to plate is for fine dining
Yeah.
with
But
fried.
just to keep it from looking like chicken nuggets, I would have cut it on the bias and then
Yes.
fried it.
Yes, it looks like chicken. I thought they were chicken nuggets.
We're
But I
gonna
do love
see-
the fries, the black, I think it's pepper or something on them.
Uh-huh.
On it, it makes the fries stick out a little bit more.
We're gonna see the next two plates are also out of this class. I didn't pull something, off of the interwebs to give you a whammy or something. The next two plates show quite a bit of creativity and even a bunch of fried food. One thing we all can recognize is you don't know what you don't know. And why I've had us do this kind of peer review section at the beginning of each of our Zooms is less about criticizing each other. We've done a great job of doing that constructively, but also giving you so many new ideas, different ideas, ways to think that you have maybe never thought before. So what do y'all think?
I think that is a beautiful plate.
Yes.
I wouldn't change anything about it. And
Okay.
I really like the nori, the seaweed and the butterflies.
Nori, that's correct.
Yeah, that's very creative. So it's the thing that's fried on here is the shrimp, looks like, with the tails on there?
Yes.
And it's used inside.
Yeah, I like that.
Would you do anything different, Juanita?
Not at all.
I would do one thing different.
What's that?
I would lose the tails.
Really?
So it looks pretty on the plate. It adds some height on the plate and it's really, really pretty. But now I'm going to ask it in general terms. Can I eat that?
No.
No.
Well, the short answer is yes.
Technically, I don't think I'd want to.
That's it.
I mean, if you want the extra fiber, you can. I would just pinch them really hard to make sure I got all that meat out of that tail.
That's how they serve them in restaurants, though, is with when you get with the tail on. They serve them in like that in all the Japanese restaurants that I've ever been to.
because it looks pretty.
Yes.
But, you know, a lot of restaurants, and I call it Denny's plating and Cracker Barrel plating, a lot of restaurants are going to give you that slice of key lime cheesecake for dessert with the fresh cream on the little dollop on the fat side of the cheesecake and put a nice big pretty mint leaf for color. Now, can you eat the mint leaf? Yes.
Don't want to.
Do you want to eat the mint leaf? And does the mint have anything to do with that plate? Does not. Now, the shrimp tail, does it have anything to do with this plate? Yes. I mean, you want to garnish with the things that are in your dish. Is shrimp in the dish? Yes. But you also want to garnish with, you would like to have a completely cleaned plate go to the dish pit. Nothing left on it. Everything should be edible. And unless you are in China, mainland China, actually, or you're in Japan, and maybe Thailand, Cambodia, I don't know personally, I can't comment about those. In Japanese cuisine, yeah, you'll eat shrimp tails. In real Chinese food, not Panda Hut Chinese food, in real mainland Mandarin Chinese food, you'll eat the shrimp tails as well. But would we in the United States? No.
My dad accidentally did once.
Accidentally.
Yeah, he didn't know. It was his first time eating shrimp, so he didn't know to take the tails off.
Okay, guilty pleasure. Because it is really terrible for you, but it kind of tastes good. And I keep it in my freezer. I usually have, 2 or 3 boxes in the freezer, at least one all the time. If I'm in a hurry, I'm riding, I'm late coming home from work or whatever, a quick dinner is boil some pasta and toss that with, I think it's Van de Kamp's brand, shrimp scampi.
Mm.
You ever had that? It's frozen shrimp, and each individual shrimp, it's raw,
It's good.
frozen, it's covered in seasoned butter. It is not true scampi. It's seasoned butter, sauteed shrimp. There's no vermouth. It is not real scampi, but it's quick and it's kind of tasty, and there's no tails except for about a third of the shrimp. So almost always you're going to eat that shrimp scampi in the pasta, and you're going to get a little shell, or you're going to get a piece of the tail. And I lived in China. I spent 3 months in China. I don't know if you can really consider that lived, but
Yeah.
was in China for 3 months, and I ate a lot of shrimp shells. My wife will kind of spit it out, and I'll just chomp away. It's added fiber. I don't eat enough salad in my life, and I could use a little more fiber, so shrimp shells are fine. It's a very beautiful plate. It's a colorful plate. A lot of things. My personal only criticism is the tails. Perhaps removing the tails, but keeping the back end of a few pieces of shrimp to still have the same kind of height, this kind of a dome shape or something. Maybe not quite as impressive.
Mhm.
I personally think that each of your shrimp rolls could stand alone on the plate, and you don't necessarily need, if this were my restaurant and I was your chef evaluating this plate for service, I would say lose this altogether and lose that altogether and just serve this on the diagonal on the plate, exactly how you'd have that plated, Lynn. That was
Thank you.
Lynn's plate, by the way.
Yeah.
You should call
April
it-
knows.
Um,
Thank you. And that's
Okay.
sriracha and Japanese mayonnaise. The white is Japanese mayonnaise. QP.
Love it. Last plate.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Okay.
This is not from the interwebs. This is one of your classmates. And I don't think she's on right now.
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Are we right? Is it Jennifer?
I can either, if she's not on, I can't tell you. It was Jennifer.
Oh, it's Jennifer.
My criticism is
So you can make fried food look fancy.
I guess so.
You can.
And she knows how to play freaking green beans. That's a good idea. All right.
All right.
So listen. Instead of spending a bunch of time trying to criticize this plate, can we all agree this is very creative?
Yeah, I don't see anything that
Beautiful
needs to be
plate.
done to it.
I would be happy with that. I wouldn't change anything. So Jennifer, whenever you're hearing this, when you get the recording, well done. Let's all give
Mhm.
a little applause. Very well done.
Very nice, very nice.
I'd like a little bit more sauce, but maybe she has it off to the side so you can dip your stuff into it. But I love everything about it. I love the plate. It's not slate, but I can't figure out what it is.
It's a dark plate. It's a square plate. You
Yeah.
get close enough, you can see the shadow.
Oh,
in there.
Yep. I do it
It's a
now.
regular square plate. It's just dark plate.
Yeah.
There's no trick photography here or anything. So, I also have the pictures of each of you holding your plate in uniform for kind of the uniform shot. It's exactly this plate. It's a dark color and it's very nice.
We'll have to find out where Jennifer got that.
Let me give you maybe give you all, we'll call it a suggestion. Because I know that we all have all of this extra time in the world. I would encourage you at least 2 or 3 times a week when you're going to prepare dinner at home for your family. Okay. Go to Google Images and write this down. Look up Michelin star. There's 100 ways to go, 1,000 ways to go. Here's just one suggestion. Look up Michelin star and then whatever it is you're doing for dinner.
Michelin star.
Michelin star, Michelin, Michelin, like the tire. Michelin star, that's the worldwide, every restaurant wants Michelin stars. You hear about chefs that have 1, 2, or 3 Michelin stars. That's a falsehood. Chefs don't earn Michelin stars. Not a single chef on the planet has a Michelin star. Their restaurants earn Michelin stars. And one component of earning a Michelin star is the food that's created by the chef. It's ambiance, it's consistency, it's cleanliness, it's level of service. It's 100 different things. The food is only one. And it is the restaurant that earns the Michelin star, not the chef. But if you look, and even if you're doing meatloaf, look up Michelin star meatloaf under Google Images. And I don't know what you would find if it's meatloaf, but just take a few minutes to look at the different kinds of platings and pay attention to the art. Okay, here's the thing. If we're looking at this plate versus other plates, I think we can all agree that some of us are left brain and some of us are right brain. Some of us are analytical and can follow any pattern that we're given. Others create the patterns. Does that make sense? I'm artistic. I'm I can walk into a room that is completely bare and empty, and I can see what color that room ought to be. I can see pictures hanging on the wall when there aren't any pictures hanging on the wall. I can see furniture placed in the room when there's not any furniture placed in the room yet. And the only people that really get that understand it, are also creative people that can do the same thing. My wife does some of the most beautiful cross stitch that is ever done on the planet. But she has to follow the pattern and can't really create a new design or a new pattern. I can create, she can do. Does that make sense? You don't know what you don't know. And the arts of culinary arts, not everyone is artistic. So if you're artistic already, you see the world like this plate. If you're not very creative as a culinarian, I encourage you to dive into as many pictures, as many images as you can to create this encyclopedia in your brain of so many different images of different plates that are high-end fine dining platings. And the best plated food on the planet comes from Michelin star winning restaurants. So that's why I kind of suggest, hey, go to Michelin star something. Michelin star isn't a website, but if you put that in when you're in Google Images, Michelin star fried fish, who knows what you're going to pull up? And that will give you ideas. Clear as mud? Fair enough?
Clear?
Questions? Comment?
I'm not creative at all. And I constantly go to the internet and look
Look
for
up
ideas.
pictures.
So that's great advice.
I can
That
paint
will-
by number greater than anybody, but yeah, when it comes to other things, I'm like,
That will help you so much. Certainly at this stage of your career, and the day will come that you will have seen so much and you will have replicated some of those things that you see. You will start to replicate some of those things without having to look them up. You've seen them enough, and that will eventually affect this style of plating in all kinds of different foods. And before you know it, you have your own way of plating things. But a good way to start, if you're not the artistic, creative type, is looking at what other people do. But look at high-end stuff. Michelin star, I think, is best way to go. This week, you're gonna make some pasta. Everybody picked up your product for this week?
yes,
Yes.
Good. You should have gotten, you should have received a little bag of flour.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you from an experimental standpoint. I'm certainly not going to require you, because this would require you to use some of your own flour that you have at home. But I would encourage you to make 2 different batches of pasta using the same recipe that is there in Blackboard. Okay, make 1 batch of pasta with the flour that you picked up. That is Italian double aught 00 flour. It is ultra fine wheat flour. And the quality of that pasta will be different than your Martha White all-purpose flour, Gold Medal all-purpose flour, your Walmart brand all-purpose flour. It'll be subtle, maybe, To me, I don't think it's all that subtle. Brian, what do you think? You did this last semester. We did it 4 different ways, but
Yeah.
pretty different, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the only time I've ever used double lot flour.
We can't find it.
Yeah, we have to order it online if we're gonna get it anywhere around
Yeah,
here.
I did. I use it for my pizza crust when I make it at home. So I already had some, and it's funny that you said that, Chef, because that's exactly what I was gonna do. I didn't pick up my product. Ariel got it for me, and I was like, I wonder if this is all-purpose flour. And I was
It
Oh,
says
that-
it says AP on it, so that's why I just thought it was regular flour.
Let me get with Jen because I don't know. I was at the school a week ago and she had like 3 pounds of double lot flour on her desk. And so it should be what you picked up.
It says AP flour on it.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it.
Let me double check as best I can. Let me double check. Either way.
To answer your question earlier, I felt like the pasta was a lot softer with the double O than it is with AP. And it's not like something I just automatically thought of. But yeah, I could tell a little bit, maybe.
When it cooked, when you ate it,
Mhm.
you could tell the difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially the pasta you made in class and you brought it around to each one of us. I'm sure that was the 00.
That was double lot.
Yeah.
I'm a trained professional. I know every last one of you want to grow up and be just like me. And one
Heck yeah.
you no. Here's a key. Here's a key to handmade pasta. Key to handmade pasta. Listen to me. Listen to Chef. Chef is wise. You want your pasta to be about the texture of Play-Doh. And if you can't remember being in kindergarten and playing with Play-Doh, then you might want to go to the dollar store and pick up one of those things of the Play-Doh, or you might want to run to Walmart and pick up one of those things of Play-Doh, play with it, feel it, okay? And that's what you want for pasta. The number one mistake that everyone makes when you're new to handmade pasta is you make it entirely too dense. Second mistake everyone makes when you're new to making handmade pasta, you absolutely have to let the pasta rest. Okay. You'll learn much more about this when you take baking 1, but there is this principle of hydration. The flour needs to hydrate. Every little particle of flour soaks up a little bit of moisture. And the only moisture you're giving this pasta is in the egg. Egg yolks, a little bit of whole egg. That's what you're giving the flour. And so it takes time because the water content and the composition of an egg, the water's a little bit different. And so it takes time for the flour to soak up, to pick up some of that water, to hydrate. And so as a general rule, 30 to 45 minutes. You need to give, if your pasta, when you're done mixing it, is the consistency of Play-Doh, wrap it in plastic and leave it for half an hour. If it's a little bit dense Play-Doh, wrap it up and let it rest for 45 minutes to an hour. If it's really, really hard, if it's hard to mix, if it's hard to compress, then just because we're in this online environment and I'm not with you, and the internet is not really very clear about the best ways to troubleshoot my pasta, then I would tell you to scrap it and do it again. If the flour that you received from the culinary school really is just AP flour, I'm going to try to find out before the night's out if you didn't get double aught, really is just AP flour, then you really haven't lost anything. You'll have to use a little more of your own flour, but be very, hold back on the flour. Don't just, how many times have you heard me say, I hope at least a few, or remember me saying, a recipe is a guide. A recipe is a guide. Take about a third of the flour away from the recipe I gave you. I think you've got 4 egg yolks, 3 or 4 egg yolks, 2 whole eggs, and 2 cups of flour, maybe 3 cups of flour. If it's 3 cups of flour, all of that egg and 2 cups, and then gradually add in a little more flour while you're mixing it up, so that you don't add too much dry all at one time, and then you end up with a brick.
I have a question. Do you
Yes.
recommend leaving your dough to rest on the counter, or do you recommend putting it in the refrigerator?
Counter, half hour, 45 minutes, no harm, no foul.
Okay.
And in fact, even egg noodles, I don't do this all the time, but I do this from time to time and dry it. And so once this is mixed and once it's all put together, if you leave it out in the air, if you don't cover it in plastic, if you sheet it like this, maybe like for lasagna, if you cut it using any kind of a cutter, if you cut it by hand, if you have to roll it out by hand, if you have to roll this out by hand, roll it out paper thin. It's deceiving. Don't compare this to dry pasta. If you're going to make fettuccine, don't roll this out and have thick noodles, because once you cook it, you're going to have something closer to dumplings than you will have fettuccine noodles. Okay, so you can pull this, you can line it all out, a little bit of flour all in between so it doesn't stick together, and then the backs of 2 chairs, just a broom handle, and hang your pasta. I mean, Lynn and Brian, right there in the middle of your kitchen. It would be in the way, but if you just put 2 chairs in your broom or mop or both and just hang pasta, it's going to be dry enough to store by morning time.
We bought a tree.
I've got one of those as well.
Yeah.
My point was just the same for everybody. You can
Yeah.
find someplace in your house and you can dry this if you want to dry it.
If you don't have dogs.
Well, there's that. You worry about food safety because we're talking about eggs and raw eggs and just leaving it out. When it dehydrates, slow or fast, when it dehydrates, there is no more water there. When there's no water, there is no bacterial growth, none. So it is perfectly safe. Going back to Lynn's original question, if I wrap this in plastic and just leave it out for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, even an hour, go back to your food service sanitation. It is when food is left in the danger zone 4 hours. That's when you need to chuck it. It's a no-go. We're talking about an hour, less than an hour, and then cut it and cook it. I I think, if I remember right, I actually didn't look this up, but you've got some sauteed or some grilled shrimp. If
We
you
got shrimp.
say it versus grill, that's all up to you. That's all up to you. I really don't care what you do with the shrimp. The main component in this last lab is handmade pasta. I want you to have the experience. The very first lab of this semester was dry pasta. I think we had bow tie.
Mhm.
Now at the end, we're doing handmade pasta. They cook different. Fresh pasta cooks very fast. Fresh pasta, you pull it from the water and use it right away. I want you to have both of those experiences. Okay. Plating this. I just found one picture. It's pixelated because it was teeny tiny and I blew it up. It's not the best picture in all the world, but just to give you an idea, one at least, an idea of plating pasta and shrimp, maybe a little bit beyond a pile of pasta and a pile of shrimp.
Can I recommend something really quickly that we learned as a lesson on when you're making fresh pasta?
You can recommend. I might just turn you down and I'll embarrass you in public in front of everybody and all your friends. And
I don't have any friends except for April right now, so.
all right. No,
Um,
go ahead.
All right, we were making pasta one night, and when we were rolling it out and cutting it, I forgot to keep moving it and make sure that you constantly move, like the little balls that you put them in on your tray, constantly move them. Otherwise, if you're rolling and cutting, because you have to roll it, but cover them in flour and keep moving them around every once in a while. Otherwise, they start sticking together and we had to start all over again. So that was our first time we ever made that mistake, and we won't make it again. But I just wanted to let everybody know that there is a possibility. You have to be careful. You have to keep moving it around.
The more you do this, okay, harken back to Food One, and the very last cut we learned in Food One, we learned how to tourne. And you remember I saved that cut for last because it's difficult and not a cut that we use very often, but you need to know. Fresh pasta is something that's done a lot more often than a tourne. The suggestion I gave you to make your pasta the texture of Play-Doh, the stiffness or looseness of Play-Doh, is so that you each have success the first time out, making pasta, rolling the pasta, cutting the pasta. It's going to be pretty easy to work with. The more you do it, the more you get accustomed to fresh pasta. Actually, you will want to make pasta that's much denser than Play-Doh. And it's hard to work with, and you end up if you do it every day, if you work in a restaurant and you're the one making pasta, and for this season of the menu at dinner there is fresh pasta on the menu, and you've got to roll it out and you've got to use the press and you've got to cut it, and you're making fresh pasta every day, you'll get better at it, just your own little tricks. But it is very, very elastic, but almost rubbery. So much so you hardly need any flour at all after it's cut to keep it separated. That's the density of the dough. When you reach the cutting stage, you don't have to worry about flouring it. You don't have to move it around while you're cutting. Well, that's because of the density of the dough.
Okay.
let's not go there. Let's be real successful with what I'll call basic entry level fresh pasta. And you will need to maybe move it around a little bit, or make sure you've got enough flour so it doesn't stick together, or it doesn't stick to a pan or a plate or whatever you're resting it on. And it'll be great and wonderful and great. And if a few pieces happen to stick together, then you've got something that maybe more closely resembles an Amish dumpling than pasta. But I don't see anything wrong with that. That's what I put in my chicken and dumplings. I do Amish chicken and dumplings, and it's more like little square pasta. Now it poofs up because of baking powder. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Hey, with the time we have left, if you have any, what questions do you have about the remainder of this semester? You should have seen, I'll comment really quick. You should have seen already, I did send an email Monday morning, 12:01. The practical exam opened up. Hopefully when you got your product, you also got a filet, you got probably a ribeye or a New York strip. You should have gotten
A salmon.
filet, a handful of vegetables,
Rice,
did you get rice?
yes. Pine nuts, basil.
Yeah, the basil didn't look too good today.
Well, just remember, follow the directions, but your practical exam is essentially 4 parts. I want you to poach the salmon. I want you to sear the filet. I want you to grill the steak. I want the steak. I want one of those, either the filet or the steak. I'd like them both medium rare, but only one needs to be cut open. The one, if you use salmon for your final plating, and that's the 4th component, you're going to take one of those 3 proteins and you're going to create a plate. And the idea was to provide you with a couple of things that you can choose a starch, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 different vegetables. You can pick one, or you can do a combination. You can add what you have in the refrigerator, or whatever you want for dinner if you're making your dinner. I want with 1 protein, a starch, a veg, and an appropriate sauce for that protein, whatever you did. So if you're going to do the salmon, poached salmon, there's not every single sauce in the world would be an appropriate sauce with poached salmon. If you're going to do the filet, if you're going to do the ribeye or the strip, choose a sauce that goes with them, and then plate, thinking about fine dining.
Red wine.
Fine dining, plating. Okay. There's your practical exam. For you at home, online, you actually, if you plan this out in advance, I don't think you actually have to do this all at one time. Obviously, you want to do your protein that you will use for your plating. You want to do that protein and the starch and the veg and the sauce all at one time on the plate. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I mean, if you're going to use the filet for your practical exam plate presentation, then you can grill the strip or ribeye give it a little cut open so I can see the degree of doneness, shoot a picture of that, and that's done. Whether you go ahead and load it in Blackboard or you save this to load everything all at one time, I don't care. That's up to you. You can go ahead and poach the salmon and just get that done and out of the way. Save the picture. You don't have to make those plates nice and pretty. I just want to see poached salmon, grilled ribeye or strip, seared filet, and one of those proteins used in a final plate. Clear as mud.
Yes, chef.
Crystal.
Your written final exam. So y'all didn't have this experience last semester because all of you had the opportunity to kind of get exempt from the written exam. Let me tell you how the written exam works. Okay. It is a timed exam in Blackboard. You have 90 minutes. If you know your stuff, it'll take you about 20 minutes, but you have 90 minutes. It's timed. Open book, open notes. Now listen to Chef. I'm going to break the Zoom. I'm going to get up here really close so we can whisper. Listen to Chef. Chef is wise. If you have done all of the quizzes, you already have the final practical exam. That's all the hint I'm going to give you. Okay?
Yes, chef.
If you go to My Grades, you can see all of your assignments and you can see your 18 out of 20, your 16 out of 20, your 20 out of 20 on each of the quizzes. If you click on the grade, you'll go to that previous quiz. You will see every question. You will see the answer that you gave, and you will see if that answer was correct or if that answer was wrong. If it was wrong, I do not give you the correct answer. If it was wrong, don't text me, don't email me a whole list of all the things you got wrong and ask me the correct answer. Because the last thing I need to talk about is how accessible I'm going to be
Not dead.
here the rest of this time. Okay. So because my accessibility is going to be a little hit and miss, you have 2 attempts for the final written exam. The main reason for that is because from time to time, there's a technology issue. I think we've been pretty good in this class. I actually can't think of anyone that's had an issue with the technology. And now, you know, from time to time, some of you have sent me the text at 11:53 Sunday night that I'm just now getting ready to upload all my stuff, and I realize that it's really 12:03 and Blackboard shut me out. Okay, I don't consider that a technology issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Blackboard goes into maintenance and nobody knew this. Blackboard shuts you out. You have a storm outside and you're locked out or whatever. You have a second attempt. Okay. I may be able to reopen, but my accessibility is going to be hit and miss clear through the remainder of the semester for the next week. It's going to be hit and miss. So you can take advantage of those 2 attempts if you have the time, if you have the desire. You've taken it one time. Know that if you get in to take it again, the questions will be randomized. You will not take the same quiz a second time. You'll have a lot of the same questions, but in different order. Maybe other questions come in. There's about About 130, 150 questions total in the bank of questions. I think it's 140, 150 points. I think it's 150 points. You'll have 75 questions. And so if you get back in it a second time, you may have a completely different exam, but Blackboard will record the highest of the 2 grades. If you're happy with the first, fine. If you're not happy with the first, take it again. If you're happy with the first, but you want to try for higher, take it again. It won't penalize you. You'll receive the highest of the 2 grades. And I've already received one of your portfolios. Let me tell you about those 250 points. It is super, super, super easy. Just all of the components need to be there. I didn't change the verbiage in Blackboard, so just make a mental note. You don't get bonus points if you do more, because we're a summer class. We're a shortened number of weeks. I only need 6 of your labs.
Oh.
I said that, I think, in one other of our Zooms, and maybe it went over a few people's heads or whatever. One of you have already, and it's not one of you 3, but one of
No.
your mates has already done, and it's done. If all the components are there, I want a 2-page summary at the end, not 1.5 pages, not 1 page in a sentence. If that's what you give me, that's fine. You do you, but there's going to be a point deducted, right? If all the components are there, it's 250 points. In the same way that I've graded everything else this semester, you know, your taste descriptions, I've only knocked some grades that were not 2 paragraphs. I didn't give you a grade for your grammar or the punctuation being in the right place or your spelling. We're chefs in training, not novelists. I do hope that you do, you know, your best work, but there you go. It is a super, super easy 250 points. That's all that's left. Your week 9, your practical exam, and your portfolio, your written exam. And it is all due next Tuesday night before midnight. Not you have longer than just this Sunday. Now, I'm hitting the road tomorrow morning. I've mentioned this already. There's a convention in Florida. My wife and I are doing a little vacation on the way, doing some vacation after. Anyway, I'm going to be on the road. I will pseudo be accessible by text, but I won't be able to get online. I won't be able to check things except for the nighttime in the hotel. And so I'm not going to be as on the spot or quick about you. You can't send me a text or an email and expect me to respond within 2 or 3 hours. It might be, 10 hours. It might be the very end of the day. It might be the next day. So I would encourage you to not wait until next Tuesday night to upload all of this stuff. If you have the time, and we talked about this before, I know that every last one of you are in other classes, and those classes are going all the way up to the very end. I'd like to give you a little bit of a break before we head back to school. And so, but aside from that, so that we don't have communication issues, we don't have technology issues, you have until Tuesday night, but there will be no exceptions. None. And so if you wait until 11:50 Tuesday night next week to upload everything, and Blackboard's going to be slow on the uploads. Y'all know how slow it can be uploading video, y'all don't have to upload video though, but still, depending on the size of your graphic files, it can take a minute to upload. Y'all don't let the clock hurt your grade. Y'all have done great. Don't blow it right here up to the end. I don't expect you will, but I just think I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't at least mention this.
And then we get that extra 20 points again if we take your exit survey, correct?
Hey, yeah. Oh, wait. In fact, it will not be 25 points. I did add 4 or 5 additional questions. The post-course survey is a little bit different anyway, but 50 points.
Wow.
So you've got 50 bonus points still waiting for you. That post-course survey will not open up until 12:01 a.m. this Sunday. So, and it will close when kind of everything else does, the 5th. I think is that Thursday? I think
That's the last day of the semester.
Blackboard's going to close for you. You won't be able to get into Blackboard anymore after that.
Yeah.
I've set as the deadline Tuesday night so that I still have time to grade and get those grades posted by faculty deadline and all of that. But yes, it opens opens Sunday morning, 50 points. The post-course survey, you don't see it yet, I don't believe. You don't see it right now. But just like the pre-course survey, it'll be in the course content folder. It'll be down at the very, very bottom, just past the final written exam. It'll be the last little link down there, bing, bong, bang. Not required, voluntary, just like the pre-course survey. It helps my research. It helps make online learning a little better. I encourage you, I would appreciate it. But I don't love you anymore, and I don't love you any less if you don't do it, or if you do it. You remain anonymous. So with the exception of the email that you will send me that says, "Hey, Chef, I did it." And that's good enough. Some of you are able to get a screenshot that you finished it. Some of you just send me an email. I didn't get the screenshot, or the screen went away, or whatever. It's all good.
Okay.
What else? It's been a pleasure. You guys have been great. It seems like every week y'all just got better and better and better, and y'all have been a blast to work with. I look forward to watching each of you and your progress through culinary school. I know you each have advisors, but my office has moved. My office is now next to Renee's. I'm down where Jolie was. I'll feel free to, say hi in the hall, to stop in the office. If the door's open, I'm there, I'm in the building. I'm happy to help you out with questions from other classes, or registering, or dropping, or whatever I can do to help you succeed. Y'all don't forget me. And when you get successful, you're going to put out those TV spots, and you say, "Hi, Mom." A little shout out to Chef Hall from time to time would make me feel good. No. it's been
I
a
do have
blast.
a question real quick, Chef. Chef.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I think Chef McAfee is my advisor.
Not
I haven't-
anymore.
So who would be my new advisor since he's no longer there?
I'm happy to help you out for now, but those assignments will be made probably within the first week of the semester this fall.
Okay,
If there's something advising specific, registration, dropping an ad, changing your schedule, you want to change your major, stuff like that, shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I can help you with that for now until I can help you with that all the time. But advisors, so there's not a Jolie anymore. Jan has moved out of that role. There's not a Jay McAfee anymore. And so there's a lot of shuffling that's going to happen. The school is, there's a lot of shuffling that's going to happen that first week of the semester. And so y'all just be patient. And again, I'm happy to help you with anything between now and then.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good luck and good night. All of God's choices, blessings upon each of you. And I'm going to hang out here with April for a minute and see if we can figure out what's going on with her schedule. And the rest of you have a good night. Enjoy homemade pasta. I love homemade pasta.
All right, good night.
Nighty night.
Bye.
We're hanging out, April.
Hey, they can hang out with me.
I want to know. She's going to call us in like 10 minutes anyway and tell us. So
So hey, I'm going to stop the recording. So